Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a fun little video. I originally was not even gonna film an unboxing, but I get so many questions asking which Kindle I have, why I chose it, do I like the Kindle, do I wish I had a Kobo, do I still read physical books, etc. And so I figured this would be kind of like a epic Kindle video, if you will. So we're gonna unbox my new Kindle. We're gonna talk about the different Kindles. Matt actually has an Oasis, so I'll be able to compare the Paperwhite, the Oasis, and the basic Kindle, or just like the Kindle. And then I'm gonna answer your questions. So I thought this would be a fun little video for all of the readers here, or if you're like wanting to get into a Kindle. I also do have a Kobo, so I'll do a little comparison on the two of them. And yeah, I just thought this would be a fun little video to do. So hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so for starters, the current Kindle I have is the Kindle Basic, which is like the, I guess, most basic Kindle you can get. I've had this since 2019, and honestly, it is still amazing. The battery life on it is amazing. It's super portable. It's the perfect size. It fits in like my bagoo, in my belt bag. Like, it is truly amazing. If you are just getting started in Kindle, I highly recommend getting one of the more basic ones and seeing if you like it first. But the reason that I wanted to upgrade to the Paperwhite was, one, mainly to just do a little comparison for you guys. We're doing this for science and research purposes. But ever since I got the Kobo, I realized how much I like the warm light. And also, the Kindle Paperwhite is waterproof, and we do spend a lot of time in the water in the summer, at the lake and at the cottage. So I thought that this would be a better suited choice for me, because I typically read on my Kindle at the cottage, because I obviously don't bring like a paperback book into the water. But if it means I can like hold my Kindle while I'm in like a floaty, I'm all for it. So I'm going to unbox this. We'll do like a little first impressions of it. And then, like I said, Matt also has the Kindle Oasis, so we'll be able to kind of do a comparison of all three. And then we'll talk about the Kobo and just any questions that you guys have. So let's jump into it. Amazon device simple setup, allow Bluetooth. And it's downloading all my books. As you guys saw, the setup is super easy with a Kindle, especially if you already have the Kindle app. But if you don't, I highly recommend downloading the Kindle app before you get a Kindle. It makes it a lot easier to set up. So we've got the three Kindles here right now for a little comparison. This is my Kindle, the Kindle Basic. This is the Paperwhite. My first impression is obviously that it is bigger. Not only is it taller, but it is also wider. It's bigger overall. But you also do have way bigger of a screen, which I like a lot. I'm a little worried it might be a bit big for me, like now feeling Matt's Oasis. Maybe I should have gone for the Oasis. But one thing I will say about the Oasis that I don't like is how wide it is. It doesn't really fit in a lot of belt bags and smaller bags if you are bringing it on the go and you're kind of going for the more portable feature. If you're going for the portable feature, I definitely still recommend the Kindle Basic, especially if you're not near water or any of that. It's in between the Paperwhite and the Oasis. Obviously, the Oasis is kind of more of like a square shape, and it has pretty much the same screen size as the Paperwhite. Kindle Basic definitely has the smallest screen size out of all of them. The one thing also to note about the Oasis is it has that kind of like ridge on the side, and the Oasis also does have the buttons to change the page, which honestly is kind of nice. Huge pop socket girl on the Kindle. It is a game changer, especially, I know I get like really easy hand cramps because I have carpal tunnel, and I think it makes the biggest difference. With the Oasis, a lot of people find that they can hold it naked without a pop socket. That sounds like naked, I just mean like without a pop socket, because of the ridge right here. So that is also something to consider. I feel like with the shape of the Oasis is great if you're just like an at-home reader, whereas the Paperwhite and the Basic are really good if you're kind of on the go, just based on the shape and the convenience of them. I will say that the Oasis does feel way better quality than the Paperwhite and the Kindle, because these ones are made of like plastic, whereas the body of the Oasis is, I mean, it's like metal. I feel like the biggest deal breaker for a lot of people is going to be if they want the page turner or not. I personally feel like the page turning, like the swiping motion of your finger, honestly, you kind of get like used to it. The one thing to know too is the Oasis does run a little slower, and the battery apparently isn't as good as the Paperwhite from like all the research I've done on like the processors and the speeds and stuff. I'm curious to see how the battery of the Paperwhite holds up over time, because I read, right now I'm in a huge reading slump, but on average I read about 2 to 3 hours a day at night, and I probably charge my Kindle once a month, if even that, honestly. Like, the battery on these things is amazing, and keep in mind this Kindle is 4 years old and I've used it 2 to 3 hours every day for the last 4 years, and it's amazing. Do you think, and I don't know if this is because this is an older Kindle, if there's a newer Kindle Basic, but I will say that the processor on this feels quicker, like it's a little speedier. I don't really notice any huge lag issues on my original Kindle. So this one is a lot quicker. That's like kind of like my little mini review. All right, I am going to pull up your questions and we are going to do a little Kindle Q&A, because I find I get a lot of the same questions, and I figured it'd be nice to have one Kindle video for you guys to resort to. The first one, did you consider the Oasis? What made you pick Paperwhite over Oasis? I'm definitely still not like 100% sold. Mainly for me it was price. Like, the Oasis is a bit of a pricier Kindle. However, I'm not opposed to getting the Oasis. I plan on trying the Paperwhite out for a little bit and like kind of seeing which one I like more. As someone that has carpal tunnel, I feel like the Oasis could be a good option, especially just because it's a bit more ergonomic. But to be honest, the biggest deterrent for me was price, and also the fact that the battery life isn't as good on it. My favorite Kindle cases, like I said, I keep my Kindle naked except with a pop socket. I just think that's the way to go. It's very sleek, very minimal. I did have a case on it the first year I had it. Honestly, I felt like it was kind of unnecessary, to be honest. I've honestly dropped my Kindle so many times. I've never had an issue with it because of it being the plastic. So yeah, I prefer to just have a pop socket on mine. A lot of people were saying, do you still use your Kobo? And I do. I have like a whole routine process when it comes to my books, and I'll share that with you guys. This is my Kobo. I also have a pop socket on her as well. She is like the dark blue one. To be honest, I don't even remember what kind of Kobo this is because I got it with my PC Optimum points, and I do have both because in Canada, which was another question, in Canada specifically, you cannot use Libby and Overdrive on your Kindle. So I know in the US y'all are spoiled as heck, and you can download library books on your Kindle. In Canada, you can't. You can only do it on a Kobo. So I do have both, and if you are a really big reader and you're in Canada, I do recommend that you think about investing in both. I have a process when it comes to reading, and I'll take you through it, and hopefully it makes sense, because in my head it makes sense. I have Kindle Limited on my Kindle, so anything that is Kindle Limited, I will automatically read on my Kindle. When it comes to new releases, I go one of two routes. If it's a new release that I like, I know I'm gonna love, I need to read it right then and there, for example, Happy Place by Emily Henry, I will go ahead and buy it on my Kindle. If it's a newer release that like I don't really want to read like right away, I'm okay waiting in line at the library, or a book that I see someone recommend that I'm not sure if I'm gonna like, I will put it on my Kobo because it's obviously attached to Libby and Overdrive. I also use this for Kindle Daily Deals, which is a great way to get newer releases. They change them up every day and every month. And then in terms of paperbacks, I pretty much like 99% of the time only thrift books now. So for example, if I'm out at the thrift store and I see a new release, I'll just buy it and read it paperback, because $4.99 versus like the $15 on my Kindle, you still can't beat that price. So it kind of just depends where I find the book and what deal I get, but I pretty much do Kindle for Kindle Unlimited, any daily deals, and then Kobo for any books that I rent from the library, if that makes sense. If you read a book you love on Kindle Limited, you also get a physical copy. I feel like I used to do this a lot, but I'm really steering away from it because I am not a rereader, to be quite honest. Even in the book community, there's a little bit of overconsumption, which I think there's gonna be overconsumption everywhere. But for example, I have a few series that I read on KU, loved, and bought the books, but they're just like sitting on my shelf and like I don't plan on rereading them. So what was the point of me buying them? But I'm also not a rereader. If you're a rereader, then it makes sense. Maybe you buy your favorite books. But I'm definitely steering away from that and steering away from just buying books I've read in general because I'm just not a rereader. Okay, I was getting so many DMs being like, oh my gosh, do you miss having physical books now with the Kindle? And I don't think anyone that has a Kindle, or maybe there's a few people out there, are like 100% Kindle people. Like I feel like there's this notion that like once you get a Kindle, you can't read a physical book. And I'd say I probably read 70% on my Kindle, 30% paperback. And truthfully, one of the biggest reasons is just cost. I find books are just really, really expensive nowadays, especially if you get them new. I'm not against reading like physical books. I love a good physical book once in a while, especially like in the summer or like cozying up in the winter with a thriller. But the biggest deterrent for me and the reason why I originally got a Kindle was just cost. So I was getting a lot of questions if like I get good use out of both. Like I get good use out of both being in Canada. If you're not in Canada, maybe just stick with the Kindle since you can get Libby books on there. One thing I will say that is hard is at first I did not use my Kobo at all because I didn't have any books to read. Obviously when you use Libby or Overdrive, you have to like, you know, put a hold on a book like you do at the library. And it took me a while to get into the rhythm of having books become available because at first you're just like waiting for all these holds to become available. So I found the first like month or two, I wasn't really using it at all. There are definitely some books that are good that are available immediately, but it's not going to be like your newer release popular books. So I found that once I got my first hold, I read that and then returned it and I had another hold available. You kind of have to wait to get into a good routine of having books become available. But I feel like that's almost kind of like the library as well, right? Like especially with those newer books, you're kind of like waiting a little bit to get them. So I will say I get good use out of them now, but at the beginning, my Kobo just kind of sat in the drawer until I got a notification on my phone that like a book became available. Okay, I was getting some questions on how I organize my books. I feel like especially on TikTok, there's like some great little like Kindle hacks that you can use to like organize them. I just have everything on the like homepage, and to be honest, I actually, like I said, need to go through and just like organize the books that I have because I have a lot, and just go through which ones, like some of them I have physical copies of because I've thrifted them, but then I also have on my Kindle, and just kind of go through and clean it up. But I don't really utilize any of like the collections features or anything like that. One of the questions I got asked the most was, is Kindle Limited worth it? And it really depends. I love indie romance books. I love smutty romance, and I feel like if you are in the like KU community on TikTok in terms of like indie romance books and like smutty romance, then Kindle Limited is worth it. But I think people go into it thinking you can just get any book available with Kindle Limited, and you can't. It's definitely a lot more of indie authors. I think it really depends on what you like to read. Whenever people ask me if Kindle Limited is worth it, I tell them to like go on the Amazon website, or if you have a Kindle, to just like go on your Kindle and search the Kindle Limited store and see if there's anything that seems interesting to you. Or sometimes I'll compare my TBR with the Kindle Limited library and see how many books are available on Kindle Unlimited. And I think that is a good way to go about it. But I do think if you really like indie romance books, it is great and so worth every dollar. I believe I pay, I'll put the price on the screen of how much I pay every month for Kindle Limited, and I mean the average book cost on Kindle is probably $10 or $11. So even if you read like one book a month, it's worth it. But I think it definitely depends on the kind of books you read. If you're into just like a lot of new releases and more popular trendy books, then it might not be worth it for you. But as someone who loves like indie romance books, for me it's worth it. I read multiple books from KU a month. Are all books on Kindle? Yeah, I'd say probably like, I don't know, 99% of books that you can find in a bookstore are on Kindle. I mean, it is affiliated with Amazon, so I've never had a situation where I can't find a book. If anything, I find more books on Amazon because of Kindle Limited and it having the indie authors. Do you feel like you read faster on Kindle? 100%. I read so much faster on a Kindle than a book. I have always been a big paperback book person, like growing up obviously, but the Kindle's really changed the game for me, especially at night. I'm a huge night owl, and Matt obviously sleeps in bed with me, but he goes to bed earlier, so I love having a Kindle because I can read at night without the light on. And the Kindle Paperwhite has the like warm light feature, which is something I really love about the Kobo and why I wanted to upgrade to the Paperwhite. Okay, I always talk about Kindle Daily Deals and someone was like, can you show us how to get there? So I'm going to show you guys how to get to the Kindle Daily Deals because I feel like it is something that no one talks about. It's like a hidden gem, and that's how I get a lot of new releases or newer releases for cheap. Here is your Kindle. You're going to go to your little Kindle store, and then it's right here, Kindle Daily Deals. You can also do it from the Amazon website as well. Oh my gosh, like today's really good ones. You guys, I'm telling you. So good. For example, All the Dangerous Things, that's Stacey Williams' new book, $3.99. The Villa by Rachel Hawkins, that's one of her newest releases, $3.99. It's really fun. I find I get into a routine of checking my Kindle Daily Deals every night before bed. Okay, and then the last question I got was, are books cheaper on Kindle? And that really depends. If you can get something on a daily deal, yes, but oftentimes it's not always cheaper. With new releases, it depends. If you guys are Canadian, you know Indigo typically does like $15 like new releases or like $20, but they're not always cheaper. So for example, Meet Me at the Lake, which is Carly Fortune's new book, on Indigo right now it is $17.46 for the paperback, and then on Kindle it is $13.99. So you do save a few dollars, but there have been instances where it has been cheaper for me to get the paperback than buying the book on my Kindle. More than not, it's usually a few dollars cheaper, but it's not like a drastic. I think a lot of people think like maybe every book on Kindle is like $5, and that's not the case. Most new releases are like $13, $14, $15. Those are all the questions that I got, so hopefully this was helpful. I will say, now that I'm like swiping through it, the Paperwhite does seem really, really quick in terms of like performance and processor, so I do really, really love that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe this helped you figure out which Kindle you were gonna get, and if you have any other questions down below, feel free to ask me. I answer all of my comments, or you can DM me on Instagram as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!